Okay, spring fence check. Things are growing so slow because it's so cold out. I got my tools with me. And I bought this new little toy, electric chainsaw. So light, you know, instead of hauling that big honking thing around. Ratchet wrench. You could tell this one's a little bit loose. This fence is about 3 years old. And I haven't really had to do too much to it at all. I've reinforced it a little bit each year. Otherwise, I'm hauling my big saw around, the 25-inch bar. This, I'm not, too concerned with wearing chaps or nothing. It's just a baby. I'm at the power source here for this pasture. Basically, everything's been sitting all winter, so we're gonna have to open it up and see what we got. All right, well, that's working good. It's an 8-joule American-made Cyclops fence charger made by Taylor Fence out of Alabama, and it's charging. I do have a timer on it. The timer is for the 12-volt well pump that I run, and I'll check the water in the battery, but that's, you never know after sitting all winter. Sometimes mice chew wires and things like that. Okay, so I do got charge on the fence. Let me see here. So 8,800 volt, 8,900. But when I turn the fence on, where are we at now? There you are, 2.4. So I've got, wire's been down. Probably big log way back there in the woods that's weighing down the fence into the mud or something like that. So I'll get out there. And this fence, I know Ed Goslin showed, these testers. And I told him, yeah, I got one of these too. And he talked about how great they are to have. Yeah, they're a necessity when you got miles of electric fence, you get one of these. Way out off the road, and you're also in muck. What I did, it's impossible to pound, tamper any of these posts down in, and you could haul rocks back here, but that's a lot of work. I just needed, it's not a corner post, it's just a suspension inline post. So I took some white oak. White oak's rot resistant. There's a bunch of it growing out here in the swamp. It's actually bur oak, I filled in with some muck and just put some branches in. And this is just the sheer weight of it, so if something hits it, adds a little reinforcement. So I've got those fiberglass rods, those sucker rods here, as just line posts. So, yeah. So, it's just a way to do it, running through the woods. Well, there you go. 3 wires down in the mud, so that would be kind of a short. Got through that like nothing. I mean, you had to let it cut. It would bog down if you pressed it. But I'm telling you what, it's a real saw. It's got a 20-volt battery. I mean, it cuts like a real saw, not like a little 12-volt saw or something. Here's a corner, and I did bring rocks back here. I had to haul it because I didn't have a tree to tie to. I wanted this right on, pretty much by the property line. And you can see I've got these cutout switches. That way if you're back here and you're back here with your tester touching the fence and you go, oh, it's on this line, I can isolate it a little bit better. You buy these cutout switches. I get the Gallagher ones. I've had some other ones that just don't work. They fall apart on you. But these seem to last quite a while. It'd be that easy, right? This whole root ball fell right over. Well, that's why I keep the 25-inch bar in my truck. This little baby saw ain't gonna handle that. It's still not grounding anything out, but it's on top of that top wire there, pushing it right down. That tree with it when it came down. Look at that root ball. But yeah, it's not touching the ground. You could probably you just leave that. And that happens a lot. I'll come out and check a fence line, something like this. You go, well, I don't have time to go back get my saw. I'll stop by the next day and get it. Trees for a post. I do this so that I don't drill in the nail or the screw all the way, so that it has, as the tree grows, has room to push out. So you get a few years on your insulators that way right there. Other corner here, and I actually did bring back some sand to tamp it down. If you only got 3 wires, you don't really need to brace it. The big deal is if you're digging by hand, you've got a much tighter, smaller hole that holds, you got that, you haven't degraded the sides of the post hole, and it'll hold better, less tamping as well. Again, another cutout switch here, jumper wire crimp. Sometimes I'll use wire nuts. I don't really put the fence too tight. Really like to have some flex in my fence, so when something does hit it, it doesn't, bust insulators, things against like that. Property line here, and this 90% of your problems of really hard shorts are going to be running along an old fence. Either you'll have a little piece of barbed wire might come off the top and somehow gets wrapped around the wire. It's almost like a gremlin came and wrapped it around the fence. And I like these daisy wheel tensioners as well. You just put them in line to tighten up. You don't have to I'll use both though, like where I terminate a wire or run out of wire and I got to splice. So I'll use the ratchets to splice. I'll tie one on. But if you just got a sag in the wire somewhere and you want to add some tension in line, this is a pretty good way to do it. Big heavy post, and you're never going to tamp that, tighten it up, but it's just the sheer weight of that post. So if something hits this fence like a deer or something, it's not going to take the whole fence with it. It just adds stability, but yeah, you're never going to tamp that tight out here in the muck. So I did brace this one, and I used a floating brace. It's called floating brace because the brace actually floats on that brick or a flat stone. You tighten it up with a ratchet. You can use a twitter stick, but it's hard to wrap a twitter stick between the ground and the brace diagonal. And when you pull that in, it pushes against the corner out. Now here's the deal with corners, whether you're doing an H brace or the floating brace. Put your brace 2/3 the height of the fence, and that's the same if you do an H brace. These are as strong or stronger than an H brace. The Forest Service back in the 70s did research, so I don't do an H brace unless I'm hanging a gate, and I'll do double brace wire both directions to pull both. That way both posts act as an end or a corner to stop a gate from sagging. Never hang a gate unless you got you pretty much almost need an H brace to do a gate, unless you're putting in a huge post, concreting it down several feet. But what happens is if you put this at the top wire, okay, at the top height of the fence, it'll lift this corner post out of the ground. And you see that a lot. You see a lot of H braces driving by and you see that corner lifting up. A lot of times that horizontal is pulling the fence up. So about 2/3 the height of the top wire. T-post for electric fence for obvious reasons, but I basically only have these posts because I inherited them from different farms where they were left behind. But I don't buy T-posts. You'd have to buy a post, which I really hate to do because most of your fencing cost is the post. I get these fiberglass sucker rod posts. You don't have to put an insulator on, but you have to use these clips. Okay, I got the big boy loaded up, the MS 362, and of course, you know how many times I've gotten way out back, forgot the bar wrench? A lot. Right there, 7,900, 7,800. Good to go. Pretty much always trumps everything. It's just cost effective, cheap, easy. I use an electric gateway for a gate. Sure, I could put a tube gate here, a couple big swinging gates. It'd be a bear getting through these tree roots, hanging it. And then on a off-farm pasture like this, you still probably should put an electric wire in front of that gate, keep them from rubbing on the gate or keep the calves away from it. So I do an electric gateway with an on-off switch. Right now the gate's off. Just tie it to this cherry tree, jumper wire, wire nut. Basically it right there. And I, slip this up, pull that out, swing the gate open, make it out of these self-insulating posts.